I'm Lisa Avila, business strategist, and we are back with Tricia Gunberg, Reiki master and numerologist, for another business numerology month. Welcome, Tricia.
Yay!
She's back, and we're so excited to have you to talk about June.
June, yes.
I can't even believe it's June already.
Right. Fast. And my new grandbaby is named June, so I'm gonna have more affection for this month, I think, than I would have otherwise. Okay, so do we want to do the overview of numerology and how we're using it to support entrepreneurs, or should we share our gems of this shit actually does work? Which should we do first?
Which should we do?
Well,
totally up to you.
Well, in May, we did our share first of how it works, and then we explained it. So why don't we do that again?
Okay.
My example, I'll go first.
Yeah.
Okay. While doing a business, doing this reading for a client, she had not sent me her goals or her challenges yet. I wanted her to fill out the Venn diagram. So my workbook has, and when I work with a client, I do a Venn diagram. While we get, there's a sweet spot, bam, right there. And we figure out the challenges. And she hadn't sent them to me, and she was so apologetic. She's like, "I'm sorry I didn't send you those." I was like, "Don't worry about it. Let's just do this." We start talking about her challenges were the energy of the number 1 and number 2, and 1 is about leadership and kind of working alone, maybe more of a solopreneur type energy for both herself and her business. But she also had a 2 in there. And that's about co-creating and then figuring out and she kind of interrupted me. She's like, "Hey, that's my challenge." How much time she spends alone, which she's really drawn to, versus how much time she spends with others and with clients. And so, yes, isn't that so? It just came through her numerology, and then her numerology is going to give her permission to take that alone time to refill her cup, because her business has a 1 in it, and so does her life path, and she needs to honor that. And she was saying how good that feels. She's like, "Well, no wonder, the 2 are fighting." And so she needs to honor that time alone, and then see where that element works in her business of creating things by herself. And she, the work that she does, she has to work with people. And I said, "Well, wait a minute. What if you did a booklet for someone who would rather just sit by themselves and read the workbook?" And she's like, right? So, you get ideas then when you look at your numerology through this lens. So that's my success story. Do you have one to share?
I do. And it's related to last month when we were talking about the number 4. And we were talking about long-term goals. And you know how organized and a little bit anal I can be. And I love thank you. I love to have goals. I usually do, well, I always do, let's be real, quarterly goals for my business, sometimes for my life. And I had done a vision board, like I said, but I really wanted to go back and look at long-term goals and just kind of reassess and think about where I want to be in 10 to 20 years. So that was super helpful for me because it reminds me of why I'm doing what I'm doing, where I want to be, how I'm going to get there, and then doing the workbook that I created myself, being my own client, if you will. So that's super helpful.
All the tools do work.
Yes.
So thank you for that entryway into the beginning of the numerology, because that's how I created my book, was this method that I was able to self-publish and complete a book, which is talk about, right? The to-do list and where even to start.
Right.
But when you have a beautiful organized calendar that you go, "Oh, today I'm going to," and you look at the number, and then that's what you do. and then the universe, the energy is there to support us.
Yep.
So let's talk about what the support is this month. Of course, we're still in 2024, even however many months later now, right? That is the energy of the number 8. So let's be mindful this year about what we want to create and try to keep our minds positive, because that's the energy of the number 8 is manifesting. Then we look at June. It is the 6th month. So we take 6 and we add it to 8 and we get a 14. And then we add the 1 and the 4, which is a 5. We're going to talk about the energy of the number 5. That is the little bit of umbrella energy that's going to support us in June. The number 5, if you just visualize the number, it's coming and going at the same time, isn't it? Right? We got that. The front is facing, and it's actually got wheels on it. Is it right? It's like a wheel. So is it any surprise that it's about travel? It's about change. It happens to be about social media too, which is really important for our entrepreneurs to tap into that message, to that energy. And the calendars, we can get really specific. So the calendar that you're going to share with everybody, right? It's going to be in the show notes, or they have a link to it.
Yep.
That's going to show them what's called the universal day energy on each one of the days on the calendar. But if we look at your personal, which I did for you, your personal and your business numerology, then we add those to the calendar as well. And then you're really tapping into a specific, or you get to choose, right? Is that fun when you look at your calendar and you see that there's 3 different numbers on there and you go, what do I like doing? What's the energy I feel today, right? Or what do I have to accomplish? You always have goals. So let's tap into the number that we can accomplish.
Yeah, I like that. And just to interrupt very quickly, when we started this back in March, and I looked at the calendar, and we had at that time, my numbers on there as well, and it was a little overwhelming. Of so many numbers, no, I'm gonna fail. I just better not start. But now that we're here in June, and the calendar has the month number, and I know my numbers for the month, that's an aside. It's so helpful. I don't feel overwhelmed anymore. It's inspiring, and it's motivating, and it's comforting.
Okay, that's good to know. Just having one number on there is easier than maybe looking at all 3. So that's an important note. So we are offering everybody the one with just the universal day energy on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm going to promote you, because if you do want to know your life path or work with Tricia, she is available to have those one-on-one sessions with you. And it is super helpful.
The calendar doesn't have to have all those numbers on it, but when you have a numerology reading for both your business and for yourself, it really hones on, in like my example, you'll know what your challenge is, you'll know why it's a challenge, and how to support yourself. And that was what my example was about, that it kind of shows to you what your challenges are or what your strengths are, right? You know that organization is your strength. You know you're here to be the boss of bosses, and that's really empowering. It's empowering. You're like, I'm doing what I need to do, and I'm accomplishing it how that works best for me.
Yep. Yeah.
And you lovingly call yourself anal because you know that that's your superpower.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah. Okay. The day. So social media, because that could make anybody crazy in a lot of different ways. But when you can hone that down to what would be 3 days this month, what if you got all your social media stuff done in 3 days?
Yeah. I mean,
big round of applause.
Yes.
Possible. Your days to work on your social media or create change or to travel for your business would be June 9th. June 1st.
Okay.
I can't even look at this right. Sorry. See about confusing too many numbers on it. Let's look at it correctly. It would be June 5th. No. Did I do this? See, I sent you the wrong calendar. My eyes. Let's go here. Okay. The first 5, sorry, it does appear on the calendar on the 9th, June 9th. The next 5 is the 18th, and then the third 5 is the 27th. Okay. And yeah, okay. So those are your optimal days to either create change in your business, to travel for your business, or to work on your social media.
Okay.
And now I know that you have a tool. Well, we don't need a tool really for traveling. Creating change. Well, that's how, we're as entrepreneurs, that's what we're going to do. But that is on there when we say create change, is to remind ourselves, like when we're setting up our camera to be on time at 1:00 and the link isn't working, that it's okay, right?
It's okay.
That things change. So the link had changed, or however my phone was perceiving it changed, and things change, and we just try to stay calm in the midst of it. And a lot of times change in our business, let's say this happened to me not too long ago. A client fired me.
Oh.
And now I had it in the back of my mind that I was like thinking of how to end the relation, how to have it. It's hard to fire a client, and right? And so I was like, oh, this is my first experience of firing a client. And then I have a conversation, and then the client fired me. And then I was like, okay, well, I wasn't really ready for that. I was like, but in the back of my mind, I wanted to yell Yahoo. And I was like, just be cool. Just be cool. And then within however many hours, I actually then had a client that it was like 3 times my rate. And like 3 times
dang.
3 times the hours.
Nice.
Like within, right? So I could have been moping and mad and no, but I had thought in my head already, I considered letting that client go. Long-winded story to like sometimes change is actually what you need. And it seems scary. And
it's very scary. Yes.
All right. You have a ditty for us though, I know.
I do. Well, let me say that in the creating change, that it is scary, and most entrepreneurs, we have to change. We have to be ready to change quickly because trends are changing. Maybe we need to pivot our offer because the pain points of our ideal client has shifted, right? So that change it's very important.
Yes.
And then with travel, it's so interesting that you say that for June because my oldest is graduating high school. There's going to be a lot of change coming up, but also my boys and I are going backpacking in Sequoia this month. And so to me, that is travel.
5 is zoom in for you. That's beautiful. Yep.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. I haven't backpacked in years. Okay, but moving on to social media. Yes. So many entrepreneurs that I talk with, and creative ones, they don't want to have to deal with social media. It's a pain in the butt. There's a lot to consider, but it doesn't have to be hard. And that's just what I really want to stress today, that it doesn't have to be hard. If you stay authentic and you are all you, right? You're just sitting in that confidence of who you are, who you serve, what you want to put out into the world, it becomes a lot easier.
Right. And
so
they
I want to remember that.
Clarity in that by either talking to you or by talking to me. So if they're really stuck in that, they can reach out and ask for help. And then what else you got for us? I know you got more. I know you do.
I created a worksheet.
Okay, all right.
I couldn't help myself. I get so excited. It's a Google sheet. It has all my digital tools that I use. One of the digital tools that I use is a social media scheduler so that I can plan out what I'm going to post, when, because with social media, especially with posts. Okay, look, I'm going to create my templates on Canva, my carousels, and then I'm going to repurpose them, right? Every few months or more often if I'm launching a product or an offer. And so you can use that scheduler to know when you're going to post them, what your profile is going to look like on Instagram, have it send to Facebook. You can put it on LinkedIn. I mean, there's so many different options. And so I don't know if that overwhelms people, but I find that having those digital tools and a plan, and it really helps. But I also want to say that it is important to spend a little time on social media. Of course, we don't want to see our kids on for hours. We don't want to be on for hours, but it is important to know what your ideal clients are saying, doing, viewing on social media.
More like homework.
Yeah, it is homework. I call it
information
listening.
Research.
Yeah, it is. It's market research is what it is. And so you're just, looking at, you can go down a whole rabbit hole of looking at what your competitors are doing, but I don't like that because then I think imposter syndrome pops up and nobody needs that. We know what we're doing.
Or second guessing. Right.
Yep. And just so seeing what your ideal client is, what they're commenting, what they're saying that they need and want, and then you can tailor your offer to that. And so it can be fun. It can be fun to speak to your ideal clients in a way that is not intimidating and not so formal.
Okay.
So yes, I have that worksheet. I will put it in the show notes.
Okay, here's the beautiful thing for those that are watching, because I know you're going to post this at the right moment, right before or right at the beginning of the month. We can trust Lisa to do that because that's how she rolls. So once they do that and they download the calendar, they will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days to use your plan in order to start on the 9th with their social media plan. So if that's going to be their goal for June, whether they're revamping it, they want to try this process, or maybe they're kind of staying away from or limiting their social media and they're ready to get organized, June would be a really good time. The energy is there to do it.
Yes. So let's do it, right? You kick off the summer posting different things. Post a photo of yourself. Post a photo of your garden, right? Like just show people who you are. Be authentic. That is what I suggest. So okay. I love it. June. And if you ever have any questions, of course, about any of this, you can reach out to Tricia. You can reach out to me, and we are happy to talk about these things.
Put a question in the comment section too.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. So be sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, because then you get notified of when the next month is coming and what we're going to be talking about.
Or what's nice is if you go back and review the prior month and see, like you did, you say, oh, June's 5 and I'm going to travel. Maybe you look back and you see that you really did kind of have a hint of what that energy was, and that's what your focus was. It's really interesting. Yeah,
it is.
Look back and say, was I doing a little bit of that? And then that kind of might nudge you to go, oh, what if I tapped into it? What if I was aware? Then what would happen? Right?
Yeah. Right. Right. And then be more intentional in, your planning and organizing.
All right.
All that good stuff. All right. So thank you all. We will be back in July. All right. See you later.
All right.